Hello, for the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. This is not a homily. I don't have a Mass in any parish this weekend. And I'm late in preparation. And so this is not a homily. See, I don't even have my collar on. But I did research on the Gospel and a little bit, not much, on the first reading from Isaiah 45. But the Gospel and the contents of that, Matthew 22. This might even go on longer than my homilies, so you can turn it off whenever you want. Here it goes. It goes something like this, mixed bag. We have the old thing where you go up to somebody and you build them up and you say how wonderful they are and so forth, and you got them, and then you say, can you do this for me, or I want something from you? Or even many times when you try to do that, and he or she looks at you and say, what do you want? They beat you to the punch. Well, here the Pharisees do that with Jesus. They build him up, how truthful and all this and that. And they don't come and say that they want something. They want to trick him. And they try to trick them with a Roman coin. It's sort of interesting. I have 4 silver dollars here that somebody have given me over the time, and these silver dollars from 1997, 2002, 2003, and 4. And it's got Lady Liberty on the front, and it's got the American Eagle on the back. And these are partially silver. These are worth something. The Roman coins and the Jewish coins, interesting. The Torah would not permit the Jews to put images on their coins, so they would put an inscription on one side. And on the other side of the precious piece of metal, they would put the weight of it and the year that it was minted. Now the Romans were terribly different. They used precious metal too. But on one side of the coin, they put the emperor's face. And on the other side of the Roman coins, they would put a goddess or a Roman god, which was totally against the Jewish mentality and the Torah. And the Romans collected tax in the Jewish people's land, and they could pay with either the Roman coins or the Jewish coins. They didn't care. Now here's the thing. The Pharisees paid the tax. And it's interesting. And in a sense, they were in cahoots with the Romans. Jesus and many others were not. It says this in my research. Some Pharisees tried to trap Jesus in this debate. Is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar or not? Caesar was on the other side of the coin. The Pharisees paid the tax. They drew a belief that from texts like the first reading, that first reading, Isaiah, authority was a gift of God. And just as God had once handed Cyrus, the Persian, authority over Israel, God somehow now has given authority and had Israel handed over to the Romans. And the Jewish people, through the Pharisees, they believed that somehow, some way, soon, Jehovah or Yahweh would send a Messiah to overthrow all of this, and they would get out of the power of the Roman authority. Some way, somehow, soon, Messiah. Some of the Jews, zealots, they thought that they better fight against this bad authority and overcome it, and then Yahweh would send the Messiah. And that was a small group, or a powerful small group. And perhaps, maybe they saw when Jesus overturned the coins and everything in the temple, all these Roman coins, that he might be the leader just to do that. The Pharisees wanted to entrap Jesus into this mess. And Jesus was too clever. Jesus didn't say, let me reach in my pocket and I'll pull out a Roman coin. He probably didn't have any. Jesus said to the Pharisees, show me one of those coins. Well, they had them all. They were in goose for their own. And then he comes out with, render to Caesar what is Caesar. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what is God. And it's interesting. God is the will of the Heavenly Father for Jesus, and nothing stops that. Human authority might be in other powers, or in Rome, or in Israel, or in Persia, and so forth. And that's also good, but there's two sides of this coin in authority. One is God's authority and God's power, and the other is human power and human authority, which can be God-given, if done right. So Jesus, just bottom line, he takes one side of the coin and he takes the other side of the coin and says, well, do that for Caesar, what belongs to Caesar, but do that to God, what belongs to God. There's no comparison in what Jesus was preaching. He was preaching his Father's message. The will of God, the will of the Father. Nothing impedes that. And that side of the coin is more important than even the other side of the coin. But both are important. Give to Caesar what's Caesar, give to God what's God. I think sort of that's what Jesus is trying to say in this teaching moment, even though it was an entrapment moment that he dodged. I'd like to say a real simple thing about St. Paul saying the same thing. Not with coins, with two different words. Jesus Christ was saying, are you going to live according to one side of the coin, the flesh, or are you going to live according to the other side of the coin, the spirit? Now the flesh isn't bad, and it has nothing to do with sexuality. The flesh isn't bad, but the flesh is the human, earthly, man's way of doing things. And that's good, but it's not enough. That flesh way also has to live according to the other side of the coin, the Spirit. And the Spirit is the Heavenly Father's way. Or the Spirit is Jesus' teaching way. Or the Spirit is God working with men and women in God's way. I sort of think that's not only Jesus cleverly getting entrapped, but he insightfully tells us what's more important. Your way, the world's way, the flesh way, this is Tiberius Caesar's way, or God's way, the will of my Heavenly Father. What I'm trying to teach you. Unbelievable. Don't you wish you had 4 of these silver dollars? Have a good day.